Have you ever looked at your paycheck and asked yourself, where did all my money go? You worked for it. You waited 2 weeks for it. The money was deposited into your bank account. But almost immediately, it began disappearing. The mortgage or rent was paid. The car payment came out. The insurance company took its share. The utility bill was due. The grocery bill was higher than expected. And before you had time to enjoy your money, most of it was already gone. You are working. You may even be earning more than you did a few years ago, but somehow your savings account is not growing. Your credit card balance may be climbing. Your retirement goals feel farther away. And buying a home, raising a family, or simply taking a vacation without using debt may feel increasingly difficult. It feels like you are running on a treadmill, but every time you begin to catch your breath, someone increases the speed. This raises an important question. Is the economic system working against the average American, or are Americans making financial decisions that prevent them from building wealth? The honest answer is that it is probably a combination of both. There are major economic pressures that individual households cannot control. People cannot personally control mortgage rates. They cannot control national health care costs. They cannot control inflation, corporate layoffs, or the price of childcare. But personal financial decisions also matter. We decide how much vehicle we purchase. We decide how much consumer debt we carry. We decide whether a raise becomes an investment contribution or a lifestyle upgrade. We decide whether we develop new skills or remain financially dependent on one employer. So this video is not about blaming one political party, one generation, one company, or one group of people. It is about understanding why so many Americans feel financially trapped. And more importantly, it is about identifying what ordinary people can do to regain control. We'll be creating a 4-part series about why Americans are struggling to get ahead and provide some practical solutions for us to improve our situation. Because once you clearly understand the problem, you can begin creating a plan. The first reason Americans are struggling is simple. Income is not consistently rising fast enough to keep up with the real cost of living. You may receive a 2%, 3%, or even 4% raise. On paper, that looks like progress. Your salary is higher, your gross paycheck is larger, but that does not automatically mean you are financially better off. Suppose your employer gives you a 3% raise, but your rent increases by 7%. Your car insurance increases by 15%. Your grocery bill increases, your electricity bill increases, and your health insurance deduction increases. Technically, you are earning more money, but in real life, you have less purchasing power. This is the difference between nominal income and real income. Nominal income is the amount printed on your paycheck. Real income is what that paycheck can actually buy. Imagine that you earned $70,000 several years ago. Today you earn $80,000, and it looks as though you have moved forward by $10,000. But what happens if the annual cost of maintaining your lifestyle has increased by $15,000? You are earning more money, but you are financially behind. And this is why many people feel confused. They say, I make more than I have ever made in my life. Why do I feel broke? The answer may be that the price of your life increased faster than your income. It is also important to understand that every household experiences inflation differently. The official inflation rate is based on an average collection of goods and services, but your personal inflation rate depends on what you actually buy. A homeowner with a fixed mortgage may experience inflation differently from a renter whose landlord raises the rent every year. A couple without children may experience inflation differently from a household paying for daycare. Someone who works from home may experience transportation costs differently from a worker who drives 50 miles every day. This is why personal finance advice must be realistic. Canceling a streaming service may save $20. That is helpful. but it will not solve a $700 rent increase. Eliminating an occasional cup of coffee may save some money, but it will not offset a major increase in health insurance premiums. Small expenses matter, but for many families, the largest problem is not coffee. The largest problem is that housing, transportation, food, healthcare, insurance, and childcare are taking most of the paycheck. And when basic expenses consume nearly everything, there is nothing left to save or invest. Reason number two, housing has become a wealth building wall. The second major reason is housing. For generations, home ownership was one of the primary ways American families built wealth. A family purchased a home, they made payments over time, the loan balance declined, the property potentially increased in value, and eventually the family owned an asset with substantial equity. But for many Americans, that pathway has become much harder to access. Home prices remain high in many parts of the country. Mortgage rates are considerably higher than the unusually low rates available several years ago. Property taxes are increasing in many communities. My property tax increased 20% last year. Homeowners insurance has become more expensive, and buyers must still find money for a down payment, closing costs, maintenance, and repairs. Consider a simple example. Imagine borrowing $400,000 to purchase a home. At a 3% mortgage rate, the principal and interest payment would be approximately $1,686 per month. At a rate of 6.55%, the payment would be approximately $2,541 per month. That is a difference of about $855 every month. And that does not include property taxes. It does not include homeowners insurance. It does not include maintenance. And it does not include homeowners association fees. Over 1 year, the difference in principal and interest alone can exceed $10,000. That additional payment can completely change whether a home is affordable. This concludes part 1 of the series. Please like, subscribe, share with someone who needs to hear this, and check back in next week for part 2. Be blessed.